Yo, it's your boy T. Welcome back to Tea Talks, the podcast where we put the tea into talks. Grab a drink and listen on in.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy KP. Welcome back to episode 4 of Tea Talks, Top of the Pops. And today we're just going to talk about musical evolution from primary school up until now. Feel free to join us in the comment section. And yeah, let's go.
So, who wants to start first? I think we should start with Brandon because I'm pretty interested in his musical taste going back to primary school.
Right, so mine doesn't really get interesting until high school. Primary school, more or less, but we'll get to that. Primary school, it was pretty much whatever was on TV at the time. My music taste that I liked listening to, I guess, was I don't know really. I was very pop heavy as a child because there was not really anything else I knew about, and the most of the music that I on on radio shows and stuff, and obviously that sort of dominated by pop music.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, my dad listened to a lot of reggae and hip hop and rap music growing up. I was very into that. Reggae I didn't like so much because I never understand what the fuck the artist was saying.
I still do. I just know what Batty Boy is.
I'm sorry. I used to like a lot of Eminem. My dad listened to him, and there was one other artist. I think it was Akon, which was more R&B.
Yo, he actually slapped, you know.
Oh my gosh, he still does, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now he's building Wakanda in Africa, man. Good luck to him. Good luck to him.
Yeah, I love his personal stuff.
Yeah, man.
The fucking intro that he recorded before.
Yeah. He even learned the language and everything to record. That's crazy.
Fucking slap. So fucking good.
Brandon, is there a particular song that stands out in your primary school period of time? If you could name maybe a few.
I could name probably two. Rihanna's fucking Disturbia was
oh my gosh, that was too big.
That was massive. And the second one is Akon's Lonely.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's these are some big ones.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right.
Titans of the music.
She still looks like bad.
So Campa.
Yeah.
Could you explain some of your musical taste from that kind of period of time, primary school age and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, primary school was, to be honest, I didn't really get, serious about listening to music until I got Spotify. And I didn't have a smartphone for a while. So really, it was whatever was on TV, whatever I heard in public, whatever I heard in school. I know the one I heard every week was Assembly Time. There was this one song, I don't know if you remember the name. It was
It was by Mary, and it was...
Yeah, how does it make it?
And it was Shackles, got a shackle on my feet so hectic.
I just thought, that song went crazy, man. Every single week.
And you know what? When Stormzy dropped his second album and he sampled that on Rain, believe me, man, I had that on loop just because it let me imagine fucking the weird dance that fucking Miss Markham used to fucking do. She used to put her hands out when it says I want to praise you and started to sway, and I just thought, fucking hell.
I want what she's having right there. Whoever she's on. And yeah, that was every week, man. I thought I'd get sick of this song, but every week that things like it would have us tap dancing, man. Like we'd be on our feet waiting for our certificates, and obviously they wouldn't give me one because they hate us. But you know, life went on. That's what I heard like every week. But around that time, Akon was definitely a big one with that girl is so dangerous. That girl is the bad. Like yo, that was big at that time. There was also that give me freedom. I don't know the full song.
After the World Cup.
Yo,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That
I get told that.
That's so fucking good, bro.
Wave your flag. Yeah, man.
I still listen to that song now. I still listen to that now. It's so good.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That was a good song.
2009? 8?
Yeah. Something like that. But so what I'm getting off you two is like you just listen to what was on like radio and whatnot.
Pretty much anything that was popular around the time until I got a smartphone. But before that, no. Actually, there was a brief period where this is past primary school. I had it was barely a smartphone, Palm Pre. Like I don't know. Anyway, it was like I had a YouTube video converter, and every song that I found, just download that, watch it on. Bro, that took ages, but it was worth it, man. Like when Ayo dropped, Ayo, or like when or like with Chris Brown and Tiger, or what was it? Look at Me Now, when Lil Wayne, Busta Rhymes, Chris. Yo, when that dropped, everyone was trying to do that. Every time I can't do it, but you know what I mean.
All right. So I'm gonna explain mine. I think mine is like a lot more like detailed than yours too, for whatever reason. But like,
he's a fanatic.
Fuck it down, man. Like where I like. Because when I was younger, it was like a culture pop. Like, I'd listen to what my dad was listening to, which was a lot of, like, reggae, but it's like, there's all these subgenres. So there's one called, like, lovers rock. So I'd typically listen to a lot of that, and you lot won't know what that is, but it's basically like, it's got more like it's reggae, but it's got like a rock feel to it. Like it's got electric guitars in it. It ain't got shouting in. It's like to do with it's just like love songs, but it has like rock elements to it. Beres Hammond was a guy I listened to a lot of growing up. I did listen to Bob Marley. That's not lovers rock, but I did listen to Bob Marley, Capleton, Sizzler. Shaggy, Collie Buds, Million Styles, Mavado, Vibes Cartel, Alkaline, Lady Saw, just bare different reggae artists, if I'm quite honest, and dancehall artists. But at the same time as that's going on, my older brothers, obviously, they had phones because they were quite a bit older than me. So when I was younger, like 6, 7, they were listening. They were listening to grime. They were listening to Chipmunk when he's doing them freestyles. Listening to Wiley. I was growing up. Was listening to old school grime, like man like Big Nasty, Chip, Wiley, Ears, Tiny Temper, Temper D. Fucking hell. I just listened to a lot of grime as well as like bassline, like because that's what teens were listening to in the early noughties. So they were spitting on like bassline and all. So they're spitting on grime and bassline. So I got exposed to a lot of that. Then I got exposed to like your garage, so your Craig Davids and whatnot, and a bit of drum and bass here and there and all. So like I had quite an expansive like reach. And then obviously I went to school with you lot, like with you, Campat. So then I was listening to your pop music. So I was listening to your T-Pain, your Akon. Definitely T-Pain and Akon. Because in the reggae community, they used to put like Akon's one of the Akon songs. So I'd listen to these reggae rhythms of pop stars, and then that's how I got into people like T-Pain, T.I., fucking Akon, Snoop Dogg, all of that. I was listening to that growing up, and if you remember, before it was Capital FM, it used to be Galaxy FM. So my mum was listening to Black Eyed Peas, fucking Usher. Oh my God. So, to love you. I can make it break it down. That used to play all the fucking time on the way to Bradford Bulls. Because me and Campat used to go to this scheme thing to do with Bradford Bulls. And I just remember a lot of music that I got exposed to was because we'd listen to the radio on the way there and when we got dropped home. So I got exposed to a lot of pop music. So that's when I started listening to your T-Pains and your Rita Oras and Rihanna, Beyonce. Listen to a lot of shit growing up.
Yeah. I mean, damn.
And I just remember secondary school came, and that's where things kind of changed for me, I feel like, where I did stop listening to some of the more unique stuff that I used to listen to. So I did stop listening to drum and bass. Went through a phase I wasn't really listening to much grime, and I wasn't really interested in garage. Or I feel like 2010 onwards is when I started to develop my musical tastes. And I feel like that period of time was really good for music, like the early 2010s, Jesus.
Yeah.
We got man like Bruno Mars, Jessie J, just all these different things that were going on back then, like Calvin Harris and
Lady
all
Gaga
that.
popped up again too.
Yeah.
So I was listening to a lot of that shit.
Bro, don't forget JLS, man. I can't let you forget JLS. You can't disrespect them.
So, if I had to choose the songs, like maybe the songs from that period of time, I would have to say T-Pain's I'm Sprung, Usher and Will I Am, oh my gosh. And anything from Akon at that time, Smack That, all on the floor, Smack That, give me some more, Smack That, oh. And at one point, Tiny Temper's Pass Out was all anyone used to listen to.
Yo, Pass Out is still one of the best songs ever.
It's let it go.
With Labyrinth. Yo, man. Oh, I miss that guy. I think he's still doing well, isn't he?
Yeah. Labyrinth and Tiny Temper's still doing all right. And I feel like it was year 6. That's when N-Dubs was pretty big.
Yeah.
And then you had your Tinsy Strider. And then you had
number
one. Yeah. So I don't know, I'd have to say the three that I do remember fondly from that period of time does have to be I'm Sprung, oh my gosh, and Smack That. They were just they were at the forefront, because we were a bit young when many wish their family. So 50 Cent is someone I've had to come back to appreciate. Yeah. You know what I mean? I listen to him a bit, but not as much as what I have done now, is what I'd say. But if from that period of time, do you have top artists?
Yeah. If I was to go back saying someone I think I appreciate more now, well, by going back, was Chris Brown, because he's still big, right? I went back to listen to all his older
Yeah.
tracks like Kiss Kiss with him and T-Pain.
Oh, that was the
Was it
bop. Still is, you know.
the one where he was just dancing after this girl?
Yeah,
I can't
man.
remember. What was the
No,
name?
I remember when he
With you, that's the one. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. With you. Yeah,
I
I
remember
can't
when he
sing, but you get
smacked
my
the
point.
shit out of Rihanna, man. I remember that day. It was a
Bro, we
sad
all
day for
remember.
R&B music, you know. A sad fucking day. No, you know what it is because, alright, condemn his actions, yeah, but since then, R&B has never been the same. And I say that because...
You think he slapped the R&B out of what?
Yeah, but because R&B's not been the same. R&B has not been the same since Chris Brown's, like, Fall from Grace. Because Chris Brown was carrying the genre of R&B for a long time. No one wants to say it, but it was. Chris Brown was the Michael Jackson of our generation, the R. Kelly of our generation. Like, no matter like the controversies around these artists, like their separate that from their music, because like their music,
Yeah, I know.
you know what I'm saying? And it was a sad day because because since then it just R&B till very recently R&B was missing a lot.
Yeah. Who are your favorite R&B artists right now?
I'd have to say, do you know who her is?
Yes.
I think she does R&B justice, really. I still like Chris Brown, and then I don't really know after that.
For me at the moment, I'd say Bryson Tiller or Bryson Tyler, Giveon, Brent Fayers. Like, there's a few more, but at the moment, those are the ones I'd say I probably listen to.
You're saying Chris Brown is like one of your top artists from like that period?
For that time, hell yes. Chris Brown had all the hits. I mean,
so,
all of them.
Like, who was yours like that kind of period of time? Would you agree with like Campat?
For me personally, I think the scene was usually like dominated by Rihanna for the most part.
Wait, quick question. Did Sean Kingston count as R&B, or was that more
Sean Kingston?
Oh, that is a little throwback, you know.
Beautiful girl. Well, this guy,
1-1.
A beautiful girl says hi to him. He's like, I will kill myself.
Anyhow, I'd have to say, you know what I did? I think I heard quite a bit of like T-Pain growing up in Akon. So I put them up there for that period of time, 2010, because that's also when like Young Money came onto the scene, really. 2009, 2010. So they started mashing it up. So from like year 7, year 8, I feel like musical taste just changed because people like fell off and stuff, you know what I mean? So I'd like to like discuss like musical taste from like year 7 to like year 11 with you both. So
I guess we've talked about it. Yeah, sorry.
I'd start with Brandon. Like, how much did it like considerably change from like year 7 to like year 11, like your musical tastes?
My fucking music taste changed so much from year 7 to year 11. When I was in year 7, I had already had my laptop for about 2 years now. So at that point, I was like being exposed to YouTube. I was being exposed to like video games and like meme culture in general. I was being exposed to. So a lot of my music taste was songs from the memes that were popular way back then. Skrillex was like my main jam back then.
What about Deadmau5?
Deadmau5, no, I never listened to Deadmau5.
Really? I'd have thought you would have done, because I do remember that period of like time of like our like, because you were loosely part of that circle that we were in from like year 7 and 8, and we all were listening to Skrillex like quite a bit actually. Yeah. And I remember the memes about bro step and whatnot, because Skrillex, when Skrillex first started out, it was like dubstep, and then it got famous and everyone started to call it bro step. That's like when that was like when the hipster memes started and all.
Yeah, that's right.
Because of things like obviously people liking Skrillex before it became famous versus when it became famous.
Yeah.
I mean, Skrillex. I knew him from all the YouTube intros because people on YouTube just couldn't get past it. Every intro had to have some sort of crazy dubstep background music, and of course, Skrillex was one of them. And he also did this. He mixed reggae with dubstep and called it reggae step.
Yeah, with Damien Jr. God, man. I remember when that came out, I was buzzing because you need to remember, like, these times here, like, regardless of what other genres I was listening to, I was always exposed to dancehall and reggae. There's not been a time in my life where I'm not listening to that. I said that's the one consistent genre I listen to. And at these times here, my dad used to drive me to school. I wasn't allowed to walk to school. My man would be playing on his big sound system, like fucking songs that like are talking about Punani and fucking and Kaki and all sorts of fuckery. A man used to get teased like fuck and then like make it Bundem when it came out in 2012, man. I was vindicated.
I thought I was the only one at the time. I'm not gonna lie.
My dad. It got to a point. My dad was playing that as I got out the car. It was so badass, man. You could feel like the bass because he had the speakers in the. I tell you, man. So, what else were you listening to? Because obviously you were listening to like meme stuff. So, what point did you like start to find like your musical taste changing?
Didn't change. Like, I used to just keep like fucking bouncing around meme songs till 7, 8, 9, 10, and then once I got to like the start of year 11, that's when my music changed a little bit more, focused into a certain genre. I remember going through quite an emotional year 11. It's like year 12 and even some of year 13. And it was a very sad time for me, at least emotionally. So I started listening to a lot of rock, metal, heavy metal, emo rock, alternate. Just listening to a bunch of these songs and like. It was mainly like the emotional message that like drove me to, and my music taste switched, and I think.
So, was there anyone like specifically who introduced you to any of them genres, or did you just find them on your own?
What it came down to is I was just like browsing around YouTube. And I listened to like a rock song, and I was like, this rock song's pretty good. I think it was that fucking Disturbed. I think it was like Disturbed. I forgot the name of the song, but it's the one where it goes, you know that
Slipknot?
was that? No, I don't think that was Slipknot. That was like this Disturbed. Get down with the sickness.
All right.
Get down with the sickness. That was the rock song.
Right.
I listened to that, and then I played a lot of like rhythm games as well around that time. And there was a really popular song called "Make a Move" by Icon for Hire.
All right.
And it was a song about how people will like fake mental illness or try and like make the problems to be worse out than what they really are.
Yeah.
And I remember vibing with that song so hard, and it sort of ignited like a sense of rebellion inside me a little bit. And from that moment on, I listened to the rest of their music because their entire like music collection, the theme was like trying to find your identity. And it was like trying to move away the veil of mental illness is a good thing, and people like faking their own identities.
Yeah.
So I ended up listening to a lot of that and sort of thinking, well, okay, this is pretty emotional and pretty badass. I listened to it for a good 2-3 years.
Damn.
But alongside that, I listened to a lot of Melanie Martinez as well.
All right.
She made this album called Cry Baby, right? And the entire album, she was like playing this character whose name was Cry Baby, and she lived in like this crazed, mentally stable world. She was pretty much just like telling her story throughout this world, and she used to romantic issues. She broke down. She made a song like no one could buy, and said, if no one's gonna come, then she'll just start her own party. And this whole thing got me so emotional because I felt that like no one cared about my problems at the time.
Damn.
And I was like,
right.
this is like me. This is exactly what I feel like. Past that, she made a song called Mad Hatter, and it was essentially like Cry Baby.
Yo, I listened to that,
Mad Hatter.
Yeah. I think you
Yeah.
sent me that at one point.
Yeah, I think I did.
Wait, did you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, continue. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that song was essentially Cry Baby acknowledging that she had something wrong with her, that she wasn't like most people, and that there was something about her which made her different. But the song was about how she realized this, and then she realized that it is who she is, and she's not going to try and fight things. She's going to realize that yes, there's something wrong with her, and she sort of moved on from it. And just all this was a very deep and emotional time for me way back then. So I guess most of my music taste was driven by what I needed to hear at the time.
Man. That's what I like about music, though. Is like that. It can help you through like shit like that. And music is personal to everyone.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, like Camper, what were you listening to?
So I'd say
from like year 7 to year 11.
I don't know if I guess it kind of changed a lot because of year 7. So obviously big pop songs like Gangnam Style when that dropped, Hotline Bling when all that drops, all the stuff that had people going crazy on YouTube and Instagram and all that.
Yeah.
So early year 7 stuff. So big pop like Katy Perry and all that, and then Chris Brown a lot of Lil Wayne as well, a lot of Busta Rhymes, a lot of Arab Money with DJ Khaled, and all I do is win, no matter what. Yeah, I had that on loop for so long.
Do you remember Ludacris?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, man. Jesus.
His verse, he had a verse on that too.
Yeah.
And then later on, I started listening to some other stuff. My big brother liked listening to like metal, so it was just one metal band called Avenged Sevenfold. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I also started listening to it just because I really liked the drums on there, and I ended up liking their stuff. And then it changed to dubstep, and then a bit more pop, and then back to rap, and then back to dubstep, and then all the way until like 2016, and after 2016 it went heavy on rap because that's when I started listening to Drake, and then who else? Just a few more rappers at the time. I did start listening to Future and all those around that time. But here's what I will say: when that whole mumble rap movement thing came along, right? First I was with the other people who were like, "No, mumble rap is garbage. Like, we need to get rid of this. These mumble rappers need to be in jail." Like, that's originally me. And then like, I heard a few of them where I was like, "It's actually pretty good." Like, I'm not listening to this to find the answers to life. I just like the song. But it was a few of the people weren't too big on mumble rap at the time, so I just kept it on the low key. So if anyone was like, "You listen to mumble rap?" I didn't listen to that garbage until like years later. And I realized memes were heavily influencing my music taste. So I started
That's quite
listening to
interesting. Because you two were both quite heavily on the internet and these times, isn't it? So I guess it makes. I guess it does kind of make sense because, like, obviously, meme culture stems from like taking a lot from celebrity culture, movie culture, entertainment. A lot of memes come from that. So I suppose it makes a lot of sense. I'd say my musical taste from about year 7 to year 11 was quite sporadic. Like, because obviously I listened to like my dance hall and my reggae. So these times, like, the biggest artists of that genre were like Alkaline, Vibes Cartel, DeMarco, and Tommy Lee Sparta. They were quite big. And then you had like your Popcorn who came through and changed the game a bit. And then there was a few that broke out that are like Conscience and all that. But I was listening to these man from like Time, and like they broke out on pop songs like after year 11. So I'll discuss that later. But like at these times here, that's what I was listening to, a lot of like that dance hall. And then I was listening to a lot of, like, I'd say like year 7, year 8, year 9. That's all I was really listening to, is dancehall and like pop music. So like your Kanye West when he did All of the Lights. That song. A lot of Kanye West, actually. I listened to quite a bit of Kanye West because he did that impact. I won't say it, but in Paris, M-word in Paris. Basically, yeah, that was a jam. I listened to a lot of Young Money. I was listening to a lot of Drake, actually, like Take Care. That was one of my anthems. And then, yeah, I would say I was listening to a bit of Rihanna. And then at some point, I got a lot of my musical taste from this show on CBBC called Friday Download, because like I had limited access to internet. So like you lot were influenced by memes. I was influenced by Friday Download, and it used to have like a chart of music. So at one point when Jay Sean was big, I was listening to Jay Sean. Yeah, I was listening to Jay Sean. When Jason Derulo was big, I was listening to him. When Carly Rae Jepsen was big with Call Me Maybe, I was listening to that.
I just met you. Pitbull. This is crazy.
Pitbull. I was listening to Pitbull, Kesha, Beyonce.
Owl City. You definitely remember that.
Yeah, I was listening to Owl City. And then I even got into like boy bands like
One Direction.
Not One Direction. There was a
JLS.
I was listening to a lot of JLS, actually. I was listening occasional Maroon 5 here. Linkin Park. I was listening to a bit of Linkin Park here and there and all. I mean, like, within that, I'd still listen now and then. I'd go back to grime. It'd be like, not like your London stuff. It'd be like Bradford scene kind of stuff. I was always like listening to Bradford stuff. So like there's a TV, there's a YouTube channel called King of the Hill TV, and it started in Bradford, and they like show rappers and musicians from the northern region. And back in 2009 to about 2012, they did like a lot of grime ciphers, and this is where I became quite educated within grime. So that's kind of what I was listening to. By the time I got back to like year 10, I was heavily into rap because I was writing again, and my dad was showing me old school shit. So I was going back in time rather than being in time at that time. So at that time, I was listening to a lot of 80s rap, 90s rap. So I was listening to your gangster rap like NWA, for example, or I was listening to a lot of like
Gentlemen with attitudes.
or breakdance music. Like I was going that far back. I was going to Sugar Hill, the hip,
Sugar Hill gang.
the hip. I was getting taught the origins of hip hop, and bashment and everything. So I was listening to everything. I was listening to DMX, Tupac, Big, Snoop Dogg, Wu-Tang Clan. I was listening to just all of this shit, man.
R.I.P. DMX.
Yeah, R.I.P. DMX. That's what I mean. Like, I was listening to all of this and getting, like, the evolution of rap, basically. And at that point, yeah, I was listening to my grime again. Grime became popular from 2015 because of Skepta.
Yeah.
Shut down when he sampled Drake. That I remember, like, my music became a lot more UK centric from about 2015. Like, I wasn't listening to much US rap at 2015. I can't lie. I was listening to a lot of UK rap. That's when
I was listening to a lot of JME as well at the time.
Yeah. So JME, I was listening to JME, Chip, Fredo, Nines, man. I was listening to Nines. I was listening to Abracadabra. Anyone from Play Dirty at a certain point. Obviously evolved into Notes, J Hus. All these, man, like Lotto Boys, Stefflon Don. What were they called? War, Everything Lock Off. Steel and Copper. What were they called?
Section Boys? You mean Section Boys?
Section Boys. Yeah, Section Boys. Big back then. And then obviously Drake went and started working with Mandem. Like I was listening to AJ Tracy before AJ Tracy was big because of man like Toby Jizzle from YouTube. I was watching a lot of Sidemen and they were introducing like to people like AJ Tracy because they weren't popping off back then. I think at one point Toby Jizzle had AJ Tracy as his like theme song for his opening, or he were using his music in summer. That's how I got introduced to AJ Tracy. And then you had like the likes of like Dave working with Drake, and that's like when it became very UK centric. And then like I'd listened to Stormzy before Stormzy was called Stormzy, you know, when it was called Summit Mike. I was listening to Stormzy that long. Like when Stormzy was a rapper in 2012, Isaac and me were listening to him. Like I'm not even capping. Like because Isaac used to like listen to different things. Like I remember when I discovered J Hus before he like broke out, and I showed him to Isaac, and me and Isaac were listening to J Hus like before it became what it became. You know what I mean? Like that period of time, I was listening to underground UK music. So and then obviously
gigs, of course, gigs as well.
Yeah, I was listening to gigs, and then like I remember when I started to listen to like, because obviously all these mumble rappers started to come out. Wasn't a big fan really, so I didn't fuck with it like at all. Like nah, didn't want it. So it pushed me to people like J. Cole. It pushed me to J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Logic. Like Logic. I was listening to Logic, Joyner, Lucas, even Tyler the Creator. I was listening to a lot of him. Like that's what I was listening to. And then like Brandon, I got to this like phase in life where my mental health did take a dip. I think maybe midway through 2015. So 2015, 2016, I started to listen to like emo rap. Yeah. So like it was just a madness. Like,
no, that's more recent.
No.
When you say emo rap, do you mean like
Hollywood
like
Undead.
what people call emo rap. I was in my feelings a lot back then. I'd say like from 2017 onwards, that like my music that I was listening to was like more emotional. Then when like Juice World broke out, I was listening to him a lot. When Lucid Dreams came out, I don't think you lot will know it, but Lucid Dreams sampled
they
Sting.
sued him and took like 90%.
Yeah, but what you don't know is there was a dancehall rhythm that was very similar that had sampled Sting. So I loved that Juice WRLD had used that because Vybz Kartel had the song, did a cover of that did a cover of Sting's song, made a dancehall thing. And like that's why I liked Juice WRLD's tape because it was like rah. Like I've already listened to a version. I was already exposed to a version of that, and it was like reliving that kind of period. But yeah, I feel like Juice WRLD and Extentacion got me through like such a dark period.
You know, from here, from both your experiences, it seems like music definitely shaped your mental health more than it did mine. But like when it comes to lyrics, are there any lyrics that stand out in your head that you heard and you were like, wow, this either hit me or this is an amazing bar or this is just a great lyric you can think of?
Holy Mama Jamma. I'll have to pull it up, to be fair.
I don't know if it was lyrics, you know. I think it was just the vibe at the time. And I mean, like, Supermarket Flowers is about him losing one of his grandmas. Supermarket Flowers by Ed Sheeran. So
Yeah.
I listened to that with my grandma and we loved that song. And then I actually ended up losing my grandma, so I could relate to the song even more. So I feel like that's what that was with that. And then it was just like Extentacion. Like everything he wrote, I could relate to everything he was writing. It was like when he was talking on Sad, like I just related it to it all. It was just everything he was releasing at a certain point, I was just feeling. It was like the only thing I can say, like music that stood out because of bars in them times was anything that I was listening to Chip. It was like my favorite thing in that period of all that grind beef was Peri Peri Sauce. The wordplay on that was mad. It went it said something like you're in it said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, always acting like you can't see them. And that was like he missed 6, 7 out because at the time, like the guy was beefing with 6, 7, not Chip. Young'un was beefing with 6, 7, and he was going on like he was a scam man. And he goes, the only time you're shooting is with your cameraman. And I just thought that. And he says, you spit in air, you're an AC on legs. And just like, it was just that whole song was just madness. But like, in terms of emotional things, I don't think it was a particular lyric. It was just, I could relate to how they were feeling. Your grime, UK rap, and like US rap. I listen to reggae more than I have done in the last like 4 years because there was a time where I'd listened to a bit of reggae, but I was heavily listening to like your lo-fi shit. And I've got back on a reggae just solely because it's like it lifts my mood up. Like it is like, and to me, I call it like God's music, really. And it is the music I listen to when I need uplifting. And like I like to listen to that because the lessons in like reggae music is about love, and they're all things I'm trying to promote to my son. So I try to listen to like reggae music more in front of him. How about you lot? What are you like listening to now? Similar stuff to what you were listening to in year 11?
Personally, the whole like right now, I'd say my music is it just completely changed. So well, I don't know. It's just coming back home, I guess. But so right now, I'd say I'm listening to Koji Radical, Giveon. I heard that new Young Thug album, but I don't really listen to him on a regular.
Yeah.
Album-wise, I don't really listen to many albums. I'd say I'm more of a playlist guy. Like, I'll just pick the best songs and then put it onto a playlist. I definitely listen to a good amount of Weeknd. Since his album dropped.
I forgot about him, you know. He is one I do listen to quite a bit of.
Yeah, Weeknd, and I don't know. Like, I guess I've been hearing a lot of drill lately, but not from one artist.
He and Baz slap. Like, I've had this discussion with a few people because obviously, like, some people hate on them, you know. I don't understand it because if you listen to the bars, like, they just go off different, man.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, by the way, he and Baz are two, like, 65-year-old old white guys who do rap and grind.
I think I listened to their first song when it was popular. Fucking good.
A while back.
So you're listening to a lot of that. But what about you, Brandon? What are you listening to?
I listen to 3 genres primarily. The first one is the same kind of music that I listened to during high school, except with a few additions. During my like college days, right? I found a band called The Score.
Yeah.
And I just vibed with them from the first song that they made. Every single song they've made has been an absolute fucking banger. And it's so like, it gets me pumped. When I listen to their music, it's about like being a champion, being a winner, or even cases of like...
That sounds like that song by The Script and will.i.am. Sitting in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
That when you said you can be a champion, I just thought of that. I just thought I had to mention it.
Yeah, but for these guys, their whole vibe is like making rock music, which fills you with this burning motivation, and it's sort of and they've even got songs like. They've just released an EP called "Breathe." You got this, and it's intended for you to listen to when you're feeling a bit low, when you're feeling a bit down. You listen to that song, and the song feels like it's like patting you on the back, and it's like, "Come on, man, you've got this. Just keep pushing forward. We believe in you. Just keep moving up."
See, that's what I like about you. Like, you listen to music in a therapeutic way. So like music is medicine. I really do believe that. Bob Marley said something about music is the biggest weapon because it'll hit you harder than anything, or something along them lines. Like, I'll find the exact quote, but like he did say that, and like that's what sits with me is like I listen to music with a purpose. So like if I'm feeling upset, sometimes I will listen to like my emotional music. But if I want to feel upset, but I want to get out of that, I'll listen to something like a reggae song just to be uplifted, or I'll listen to like 90s R&B, like Aaliyah, and even like going back to like Lauryn Hill and stuff like that. And yeah, I feel like that's what I like about music, is when it's able to help you. So it's been great to like listen to how our musical tastes have changed over the years, and to hear like particular songs and particular lyrics and how they've like shaped us or helped us through life. Because I feel like end of the day, that's what music is there for, is as a way to like help you. It is a very therapeutic thing, especially as you get older, because I feel like music when you're younger, it's a superficial thing. You just want to listen to something to like dance or entertainment or some sort of escapism. It's like later on in life where music can become so much more than that. So that's what I would like take away from today's like episode is that music can be a very therapeutic thing for people. And yeah, we'd like to hear what music you were listening to because we might create some sort of playlist or something of all the music. If that's something you're interested in. This was episode 4, top of the pops. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and the next episode we're going to be talking about movies, particularly animated movies. So we'll get into that next time. So like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later, motherfuckers.